The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, earlier this week, Chester area entrepreneur Tim Moore announced his plans to increase wages for employees at Oceanstone Seaside Resort, Moore Executive Suites and Premier Self-Storage. He went on to say that a $15 minimum wage, in his view, is way overdue and that it's hard for someone to survive on less than $15 an hour. I'll table this. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Premier, will he acknowledge, as so many people in business now across our province are doing, that there is a real and compelling case for the macroeconomic benefits of a $15 minimum wage?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Honourable Member for the question. I want to thank Mr. Moore and all those Nova Scotians who were out there working, putting their own capital in line and providing economic opportunity to continue to drive economic growth in our province, continue to see us, when you look in the Federation, as a positive place to invest and continue to see good hope for this province. As when the Honourable Member is talking about the minimum wage, Mr. Speaker, every employer in this province has the right, and many do, to pay whatever they believe the going rate is for the particular position that they're playing. What we have said, for those in this province who are being paid minimum wage, we believe the best way to ensure that they have the continued buying power is to adjust the basic personal exemption inside of our province, which, if you look at the adjustments we made, the largest single tax credit or tax cut in the history of our province has gone to low-income Nova Scotians. It's why we continue to make sure affordable housing is in place, why we're going to continue to make sure rent supplements are there to continue to enhance, to make sure those vulnerable Nova Scotians require our support are getting it.
The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, in Port Williams, Ross Patterson and his wife Erin own a restaurant that's called The Noodle Guy. They have 12 people working there, and 8 of them are full-time. The base pay at Noodle Guy is $15, and Mr. Patterson attributes much of his success in this business to this policy. In a recent interview, which I'll table, he said, if you take the attitude that when you pay people properly, they'll find a solution to help you, and to help you be profitable, that's way better than just saying, we can't do it. Mr. Speaker, can the Premier not see how, as Ross Patterson demonstrates, a $15 minimum wage can be a very important part of a successful business model in small business?
The Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Many entrepreneurs across this province are making decisions based on their own economic model about how they drive the economic opportunity for themselves, the community, and the people that work for them. And I, again, want to thank all of them for the tremendous work and, quite frankly, the amount of confidence they've been showing in the last 3 years inside of our government, inside of this province. Without their support, we would not have been able to reverse the trend of out-migration of young people. Without their support, we would not see the young people getting hope to create a new opportunity in this province. Without their support, we would not see the optimism in putting capital back into our economy to grow good jobs and economic opportunity. What we said when it comes to the minimum wage, though, Mr. Speaker, we gradually increase that in every one of our sessions in this province using the formula by the NDP. And on top of that, we've adjusted the basic personal exemption so the lowest income people in our province get the biggest bang for their buck, and we're giving them more buying power, Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Leader of the New Democratic Party on his final supplementary.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, yesterday in the House, the Premier continued to speak on the basis of his contention that substantial increases in the minimum wage result in reduced hours for workers in minimum wage settings. But Karen Foster, the Canada Research Chair in Sustainable Rural Futures at Dell, told Nova Scotia media this week that this claim has, I'll table this, has no credible evidence behind it and has no basis in fact. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Premier, is he impervious to this rising chorus of business and professional voices who find his arguments against a $15 minimum wage to be somewhat empty?
The Honourable Premier.
Mr. Speaker, I appreciate the comments from the Honourable Member. Listen to all Nova Scotians, Mr. Speaker. That is one of the challenges of the Premier. We've got to make sure that you hear every voice inside of our province to ensure that you strike the right balance when you're providing public policy. It's why we continue to have these tough conversations with the Labour movement, because we need to be able to ensure that we can spread all of the wealth across the province, that every Nova Scotian has an opportunity to get. It's why, Mr. Speaker, we continue to make the kind of strategic investments to grow good opportunities. And it's why, Mr. Speaker, when we had an opportunity to put ourselves in good fiscal health, the largest single tax cut in the history of the province was focused to low-income Nova Scotians, Mr. Speaker. It's why, when we've been able to get ourselves a good fiscal health, we brought in probably one of the most progressive social policies in our province's history by the pre-primary program that the honourable member voted against, Mr. Speaker, which ensures, regardless of the socioeconomic circumstances you're born into this province, Mr. Speaker, if you're a 4-year-old who wants to go to school and learn and work hard with the professionals that we're putting in front of them, your opportunities will be endless in this province.